what happens inside your body when you consume olive oil. Olive oil looks simple, a smooth golden liquid, rich, glossy, fragrant. It pours slowly, it coats, it glows under light. But the moment olive oil enters your body, something extraordinary begins. This isn't just eating fat. This is biochemistry. This is cellular engineering. This is energy transformation. This is communication between organs happening in real time. Let's go inside the human body and watch exactly what happens when you consume olive oil. The first contact, mouth and sensory activation. The journey begins before you even swallow. As olive oil touches your tongue, thousands of taste receptors immediately activate. Although olive oil is primarily fat, it also contains trace polyphenols and aromatic compounds. These stimulate not only taste buds but also smell receptors in the nasal cavity. Signals travel through cranial nerves. Electrical impulses fire toward the brainstem. The sensory cortex lights up. Your brain recognizes richness, density, energy. At the same time, saliva begins to flow. Salivary glands respond automatically, lubricating the mouth. Even though olive oil is already liquid, the tongue still guides it backward with coordinated muscular control. The swallowing reflex is precise and protective. The epiglottis folds down. Airway closes. The bolus moves into the pharynx. Within seconds, olive oil leaves the mouth and enters the esophagus. The descent, esophageal transport. The esophagus is not passive. It is muscular, rhythmic, coordinated. Circular smooth muscles contract in waves, a motion called peristalsis. These waves push olive oil downward toward the stomach. You don't feel this happening. It's automatic. The lower esophageal sphincter relaxes briefly. The gateway opens. Olive oil enters the stomach. Mechanical processing begins. The stomach is expandable and muscular. Its inner lining is folded into structures called rugae, allowing it to stretch. When olive oil arrives, it often forms a thin layer across gastric contents because fat is less dense than water-based fluids. But digestion is already underway. The stomach contracts rhythmically. Muscle layers churn. Contents mix. Although fat digestion is limited here, the stomach plays an important preparatory role. Gastric lipase, an enzyme released from stomach cells, begins breaking down a small portion of triglycerides. At the same time, gastric acid creates an acidic environment. This doesn't dissolve fat directly, but it prepares the mixture, now called chyme, for the next phase. Mechanical mixing increases surface area, more contact, more breakdown, more preparation. Eventually, the pyloric sphincter opens in controlled pulses. Small amounts of olive oil containing chyme move into the small intestine, and this is where the real transformation happens, the duodenum. Chemical digestion intensifies. As olive oil enters the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, powerful chemical assistance arrives. The gallbladder contracts. Bile flows in. Bile salts act like biological detergents. They break large fat droplets into microscopic spheres, a process called emulsification. Now the surface area increases dramatically. Pancreatic lipase enters the scene. This enzyme targets triglycerides, the main form of fat in olive oil, and breaks them into free fatty acids, monoglycerides. These smaller molecules combine with bile salts to form structures called micelles. Micelles are transport vehicles. They carry fat molecules through the watery environment of the intestine to the intestinal wall. Digestion is no longer mechanical. Now it's molecular. Absorption, crossing into the body. The inner surface of the small intestine is extraordinary. It is covered in villi, tiny finger-like projections. Each villus is covered in microvilli. Together, they form a massive absorption surface. Micelles approach intestinal cells called enterocytes. Fatty acids diffuse across the cell membrane. Inside the cell, something remarkable happens. The fatty acids are reassembled into triglycerides. They are packaged into lipoprotein particles called chylomicrons. These chylomicrons cannot enter regular blood capillaries directly. Instead, they move into specialized lymphatic vessels called lacteals. From there, they travel through the lymphatic system, upward, toward the thoracic duct. Eventually, they enter the bloodstream near the heart. Now, olive oil is circulating throughout your body. Distribution. Fueling tissues. Once in circulation, chylomicrons encounter enzymes on capillary walls, particularly lipoprotein lipase. This enzyme breaks triglycerides down again into fatty acids. These fatty acids are absorbed by muscle cells, adipose tissue, cardiac muscle, other organs. In muscle cells, fatty acids enter mitochondria, the energy factories of the cell. Through beta oxidation, fatty acids are converted into acetyl-CoA. This enters the Krebs cycle. ATP is produced. Energy is generated. In the heart, Fatty acids are a preferred fuel source. Olive oil-derived fats support steady cardiac energy supply. In adipose tissue, excess energy can be stored safely for later use. Meanwhile, remnants of chylomicrons travel to the liver. The liver, metabolic control center. The liver examines and repackages lipid particles. It regulates distribution. It balances storage and release. It integrates fats into broader metabolism. If energy is needed, lipids are sent back into circulation. If not, they are stored or converted into other compounds. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fatty acids, particularly oleic acid. These fats integrate into cell membranes throughout the body. Cell membranes become more fluid, more flexible, more responsive. This influences how cells communicate, how receptors function, how signals are transmitted. Positive effects. Cellular and systemic impact. Moderate olive oil consumption has been associated with multiple beneficial physiological effects. In blood vessels, healthy lipid profiles support endothelial flexibility. Nitric oxide signaling improves vessel dilation. Blood flows smoothly. In brain cells, membrane fluidity enhances synaptic efficiency. Neurons rely heavily on lipid structure for communication. In mitochondria, fatty acids provide sustained energy. Olive oil also contains polyphenols, antioxidant compounds that neutralize reactive oxygen species. This reduces oxidative stress at the cellular level. In the liver, balanced fat intake supports stable lipid metabolism. In muscles, steady fatty acid availability provides endurance-based energy. In the digestive tract, healthy fats assist absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. Olive oil does not act as a stimulant. It acts as a structural nutrient, a membrane builder, an energy source, a signaling modulator. But balance matters over consumption. When quantity changes the equation, even beneficial nutrients can create stress when consumed excessively. Olive oil is calorie dense, very dense. 1 tablespoon contains over 100 calories. If intake exceeds energy expenditure consistently, excess energy must be stored. In the stomach, large amounts of fat slow gastric emptying. You may feel heaviness or fullness. In the small intestine, high fat loads require more bile release. In the bloodstream, triglyceride levels may temporarily spike after a heavy meal. The liver may store additional fat droplets if intake remains chronically high. Adipose tissue expands. This is not immediate harm, but it is metabolic pressure. Cells under sustained energy surplus can experience increased oxidative stress. Mitochondria must process more substrate. Insulin signaling may adjust. The body adapts, but it prefers balance. The nervous system responds. The digestive system communicates constantly with the brain. Stretch receptors in the stomach send fullness signals through the vagus nerve. Hormones such as cholecystokinin signal satiety. Fat intake triggers complex appetite regulation. Moderate amounts promote satisfaction. Excess may produce discomfort. Again, dose determines response. The big picture, a coordinated biological symphony. From the moment olive oil touches your tongue to the second fatty acids enter your mitochondria, your body performs an extraordinary orchestration of muscular coordination, enzyme precision, molecular transport, cellular packaging, energy transformation, hormonal signaling, neural communication. This all happens automatically. You do not control it consciously, yet trillions of cells respond in harmony. Olive oil not just a cooking ingredient. Inside your body, it becomes membrane structure, hormone precursor, energy currency, antioxidant carrier. When consumed in appropriate amounts, it integrates smoothly into metabolism. When consumed excessively, it challenges regulatory systems. The difference is balance. Final perspective. The next time you drizzle olive oil over food, pause. That golden liquid is about to trigger. Muscle contractions you cannot feel. Enzymes you cannot see. Molecular separations measured in nanometers. Energy conversions happening in milliseconds. Within minutes, it will be part of your bloodstream. Within hours, it may be fueling your cells. Within days, it may become part of your cellular structure. Every meal is a biological event. Every nutrient is a participant in your internal ecosystem. And olive oil, simple, golden, silent, is transformed into motion, electricity, chemistry, and life itself. Your body does not waste effort. It converts, it adapts, it regulates, it survives. And in every drop of olive oil, a microscopic symphony begins.